Howdy ho! This is the Kelsey Show. I'm Kelsey, and this is Kelsey the Next Level, back at you with another interview, and this one has to be my favorite. I say that probably for every artist, but this one's actually my favorite. So, today I am here with an incredibly special guest, ROB TERELL, the official CEO, president of Wealth Nation, the official deal maker, author, radio host, manager. I mean, a whole bunch of talent fell into one basket, and you were the basket. So, how are you today, Mr. ROB TERELL?
I'm super blessed, and even more so to be on this show with you, Kelsey, because I feel like God has blessed both of us with so many talents. We're both like so multi-talented, and to watch you grow and just basically blow up and blossom and be on that next level. I'm just like, whoa, I'm with Kelsey on the next level.
You guys, I am so excited to be able to introduce this very, very special guest of mine, who is also a very important person to me. He is not only my manager, but my mentor, and I have learned so much for him, so I'm so excited for you guys to get to learn a little bit more about the industry, about his path, and if you have any similar goals in mind, you can have this path as well. But you know, we're not finna give you everything because his time is very precious, and usually a consultation with this guy will cost you a cool $1,000. So, you're welcome. I'm just so excited. I don't even know what to jump into. There's just so much about your path that is just so inspirational, and I want to make sure that we hop on a lot of topics here.
I'm here for it.
Let's start with the beginning of Mr. Robert TERELL himself. You are from New York.
Yes.
So you have
New York City, Bronx.
Okay.
Bronx boy, BX boy, born and raised.
Well, coming from New York and the East Side anyway, as a whole, I know that has a lot of influence that is a lot different than, say, Midwest, me, or the whole West itself. So how did that sort of influence you, just that whole New York vibe to be into the industry that you're in?
Well, I mean, it all started, like, a lot of the culture of the industry started in New York. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it was just like, you're just there. You live there, you eat, you sleep, you drink, you breathe it. So it just really, for me, became a part of my lifestyle. And I just loved music, and thank God I was exposed to, like, all types of music.
Yes.
Being in New York, you're not just, like, going to listen to rap all day or R&B. Right. You could be anywhere and you listen to all types of music. Country, Latin, soul, gospel, whatever,
Right.
So I think my exposure had a lot to do with that.
And it's so cool how that ties into all of the artists that you help yourself, because, you're not sort of biased to one sort of genre, which definitely helps all of the artists that you're personally hands-on with so that they're able to reach the next level.
Right.
That also jumps into my next thing, that with a lot of artists that are coming up today and are making a big splash in today's industry, they don't have artist development anymore, and that is completely detrimental to opportunities that they could potentially have because they're stagnant themselves. I mean, down to not understanding how to do interviews and not understanding that you don't show up late smelling like dank, that it's just certain things you don't do. And so I think that is incredibly dope that you're able to sort of build with them and understand, you don't want to jump into this industry not knowing who you are, because it's all about perception, the most important P word. So.
Perception, the P word. There it is.
The most important.
Yes, the most important. What are we selling? Perception. And anything else that might come to your mind that starts with P, we're not selling it.
Yes,
exactly. What you're saying is so important because, the labels stop development, artist development, say, I guess now it's been about 10, 11 years. And, they A&R department changed, and so what was A&R before, where they were actually developing artists and kind of bringing them along, an artist would get signed to a label, and they might not come out for 2 years or 3 years.
Right.
because they were in development. So they were learning all of this stuff. You really have to take a holistic approach to development of an artist, you know, because it's a human being.
Right.
Even though we say, like, you know, what we're selling, you know, is the product, but you're dealing with a human being. We're not human beings, we're humans becoming. So we're just an evolution of energy that continues to evolve. So, you know, we're not stuck in a state. We're actually traveling. Our energy is traveling. I looked at it from that approach and said, well, how are particularly independent artists, how are they going to be able to be successful and reach their potential if they're not developed?
Artists now, and I mean millennials in general, are just so about now, and it just has to be now, otherwise they lose interest in it. And the passion that comes from having a dream, and that it doesn't come just out of nowhere overnight. Sometimes it does, you lucky viral trap mother. I'm just gonna add like a beep.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does happen for people, but for people who want to create a lasting foundation, to create an empire, it's not going to happen overnight. And I think that that also comes with how you get into your own business and what fundamental steps you need to learn from. And a lot of people jump into the game thinking that nobody has anything else to teach them. And that's the problem. It's that they're not willing to open up themselves to learn, hey, this person's trying to get me to the next level, so obviously they know stuff I need to know. So that has me jump back a little bit, and you were an intern.
Yes, I was.
How long were you
an
intern?
Time.
Yeah?
Well, one internship was like 3 years, almost 3 years, and the other internship was about a year and a half. Total, probably like 5 years of interning. Go get coffee. We want Chinese food. Don't forget the duck sauce. I'm literally like downtown Manhattan, Calliope Studios, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, just like asleep, curled up on the couch with like Tribe Called Quest in room B and Queen Latifah's in room A, and I'm just there. And I'm answering phones and I'm going to get stuff, you know. So it was just like, it was interesting. It was like, are you sure this is what you want to do? You know, but at that point, I knew I wanted to be in the game, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know what. I wanted to do more than just run errands.
Just a little bit, but not like...
Just a little bit more, yeah.
One thing also that is important for all of you guys to know is that get as much knowledge as you can. Make sure that you gain as much knowledge as you can, because at the end of the day, that's really what's going to help you. Because if you go into anything blindsided, you're really just a deer in the headlights. But I personally went to a conference recently, and they had specifically talked about that. And do as many internships as you can, because the people you're learning from, they may make you seem like a road donkey, but they're teaching you certain things that you don't realize in the moment, and that's the most important part. And one of the things that they said is a lot of them had been interns, which is funny, for 5 exact years. And they were like, you know, I'm in New York, and being an intern didn't seem like the smartest idea because New York's expensive, girl. New York is expensive. Hello. So you're not only working on where you really want to be, that you're passionate about, but you also need a standing 9 to 5 that nobody likes. I mean, maybe if you do, good for you. I don't. So it takes that kind of dedication. And one of the questions that was asked of these people was from an artist herself, and she was like, you know, I'm just doing this, and I've worked with this, and I'm writing here. Why am I not getting the fruits of my loin yet? You know, and so it was funny because people don't understand that seeing the work that you put in without getting any reciprocation from it yet shows more about your character and where you're going and your longevity inside of that craft.
Absolutely.
If people are only out here like, well, where's this, and I deserve this, and whoop-de-who gonna want to work with you? Nobody.
Better preach, girl. You know what it is? They get corporate America and the music industry confused. See, you can get an internship, like, you know, a summer internship or something coming out of college, and then some recruiter will be like, okay, you have the job, you know, and as soon as you graduate, you have a job. So I think a lot of people, they have that mentality because, again, it goes back to that instant gratification And, you know, this ain't instant grits, homie. Like, you gonna have to cook this food. This is like Thanksgiving.
If you want a cup of noodle career, sis, go for it. It's not going to last you that long, and it's still going to look cheap and last minute put together. It might feel good, but it's not going to last you longer than
even look at the viral YouTube videos that you were talking about earlier. Like, those people that actually like get signed or get a record deal or something like that, where are they? They don't last. They're not in the industry for 10, 20 years. They don't have a bunch of Grammy Awards and, you know, BET Awards and stuff like that. They're a flash in the pan. Right. There's no shortcut.
At all. And I think that a lot of people also, which is unfortunate, look at their favorite artists. And I'm like, social media is so fabricated. They don't understand that their favorite artists post their best angle, because that's why I stay like this. Girl, nobody wants to see this side of me. Favorite angles. People post, you know, when they're around their favorite cars. If they're on vacation, they're going to post what they feel is their best foot forward. And a lot of people don't realize that it took steps to get there, because some of their favorite artists were homeless at one point, you know, thinking, I might as well give up, because if this is where it's going to land me and I'm not getting any fruition from what I'm putting in, I'm reaping and I'm building all of these things, what's the point? Because if that was the case, if they didn't get what they wanted instantaneously, half of our favorite artists wouldn't be around. Half of these people were battling certain things, going hard for their family. Some people had kids and they were having to do this. Like, it's not just for them.
Jay-Z couldn't get a record deal. Drake couldn't get a record deal. See, this is the things that people don't, because they don't study the craft.
Exactly.
They don't know about the history of these people. They just know that now, like, oh my gosh, it's Jay-Z. Oh my gosh, it's Drake.
Right.
You know, people tend to look at the end results of processes rather than the journey.
Yep.
But if you study the journey, you would know that these people went through some stuff. Like, they really put in a lot of work. It took Rick Ross, over a decade to get on. You know, so it's like a lot of work of building and building and building and collapsing and putting the pieces back together, and, you know, blood, sweat, and tears and disappointments and betrayal and acts of disloyalty and just all kinds of stuff. But it's all part of your journey. So you have to believe in the journey in order to reach the destination.
I think that this would be a wonderful time to jump back to the first point I made. He is also an author. So jumping from our conversation just now, do you want to enlighten these folks on your book, Broken Famous?
Broken Famous. Yeah. Broken Famous actually was my second book, and it did really, really well. I think the last time I looked at it was like somewhere in the neighborhood like 13,000, 14,000 copies sold independently worldwide, and I think I have a 5-star rating on my reviews. A lot of people love that book. It's a short read. That book was inspired from all the horror stories that I would hear from artists around the world that would be like, oh, this person ripped me off, and oh, I signed this bad contract, and just like so many horror stories. And I was like, wait a minute, like, I have to write a book to help artists avoid this, or at least minimize putting themselves in these situations from lack of knowledge and lack of having a team and lack of being properly guided. So when I came up with the title, it was crazy because, like, my best friend was just like, I love the title. I don't even care what the book is about. Like, the title's so, like, you don't want to end up broken famous.
Right. Right.
Or worse, broken unknown. I mean, you know, like, hey.
Writes the sequel.
So, you know, I literally wrote that book in, like, 2 weeks. I just put real life stuff in there. Like the word contract, right? So the word contract has a prefix. Con-track. So you got to look out for the con in the contract. Right? See, so it's just stuff like that people don't even pay attention to or realize. Most independent artists have never even seen a real contract before they actually sign one.
Right.
And then they don't have proper representation. They don't have an attorney. They don't have a business manager. They don't have someone in their corner that maybe knows about contracts to properly advise them. And just time after time after time after time, they get screwed. There's a lot of bad contracts out there in the music industry, all types. So if you don't know what you're doing, and then all the scams, during that time that I wrote that book was still scam heavy now, and there's a lot of finesse and manip in the game to get money, to get a shorty short here. Like, you want to open up for Drake next weekend? Send me 5 bands to my Cash app.
Right. And then I'm just going to disappear.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's insanity. But it happens, and I wanted to just do whatever little small piece that I could do to help the culture.
And you continue to do that. You are pretty much like the up-and-coming artist savior, because there's not a lot of people out there who are looking out for the little guy or the underdogs, and there's a lot of people who see passion and they see drive, and they're like, oh, I get to take advantage of this for my own paycheck. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, either you're going to be a culture vulture,
right, or
you're going to be an advocate. And I chose early on in my career, I wanted to be an advocate for the artist. I really wanted to be like a go-to guy that at least there's somebody I know I can trust that's going to lead me the right way, that's not going to try to beat me or play me or manipulate me, have sex with me or whatever. Like, here's just a real guy whose business practices are guided by, a higher principle than what the industry typically normally sees. And I just stuck to that. That's my mantra, and it's worked for me. I've been truly blessed.
Reminds me of this quote: people who follow me make money with me. And that's exactly what I absolutely adore about everything that you stand for. And speaking of creating multiple things that help up-and-coming artists, hey, howdy ho, y'all on the Kelsey Show. Stay tuned. I'm just so excited. MUSICNOMICS. Hey, I know you guys haven't heard of it yet, but you will, and everyone will. MUSICNOMICS. This is amazing. He's amazing. So I'm going to let you tell them about it, and then I'm going to jump in on why I'm super excited about it. Not only as, an entrepreneur, but as an artist myself, I am completely looking forward to this app. I cannot even comprehend the fact that something like this didn't exist prior to you being the genius you are. So I'm going to let you jump into that, and then I will explain to you guys why I'm super geeked about it. So the man himself, the creator, MUSICNOMICS.
Well, thank you so much, Kels. Like, that means a lot. MUSICNOMICS, again, is a concept born out of need, born out of necessity. There's 43 million unsigned artists in the U.S., and probably 95% of them, 97% of them, don't have a budget, do not have the budget that they need to even, get their career off the ground.
Right.
So it's like, people that are talented and gifted doesn't necessarily mean they have money, right? So they might have just a regular job or doing something, to basically support themselves and their family. This was born out of a need of, I'm so sick and tired of seeing potentially great artists, super talented, super gifted, not be able to make it in the music business because they don't have the money.
Right.
They don't have a bag. You need a bag in the music business.
It takes money
Period.
to make money.
End of story. It takes money to make money. It takes money to build a brand. It takes money to have a career.
Right.
Somebody has to put up the money. So with that being said, MUSICNOMICS was born where I took my financial background, okay, because I had other businesses in the financial sector that did really, really well, like multi-million-dollar companies. And I said, okay, how can I merge my financial background and resources that I know, like credit, which is what runs everything in the financial sector, credit. How can I merge that and create an opportunity for artists? And MUSICNOMICS was born. So MUSICNOMICS essentially is the ability to either connect with private investors like myself. I'm an investor. MD, my business partner, she's an investor. So we are investors, but connect with people like us who may invest in your brand if we really like what we see and we like the whole setup. We may invest. Right, voila, Kels, because you have an investor. You're blessed, super blessed, but there's not a lot of people like that have what you have.
Exactly.
So, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's the reality situation. And here's the thing about MUSICNOMICS. If you can't locate an investor through the app that's willing to invest in you, you have a fallback.
Right.
And the fallback is business credit, where we teach you and hook you up, where you're able to build business credit for yourself as a company and get up to $50,000 in the first 6 months of credit that you can access and use for your company, your brand, in any way that you want. You can pay for studio time. You can pay for marketing, promotions, radio, publicists,
tours,
whatever,
right.
Travel, lodging. It's your money off the credit that you built. It is unbelievable because, the fact of the reality is that you may or may not get a private person,
right,
or an angel investor, right? For whatever reasons. Maybe they're like, this is a little too early for me to get involved with your career. Let's see how things develop down the line. We can revisit it, right? You just don't know. But the beauty of it is that it doesn't stop there. I can honestly say that we've created something that if the artist follows the steps in the program and does their part, it is fail-proof. There is no failure. You will have money, more than you have right now, to build your career and build your brand and do what you need to do. And then the last part of that I want to say is that the educational component of the financial empowerment of teaching artists that you need to view yourself as a business. You are an LLC or an Inc. or something. You're an entity that is an actual business, and why not have business credit for your business?
Right.
It's separate from your personal credit. A lot of people don't know about business credit. Some people don't know business credit exists. Sometimes the term in the industry is called corporate credit, but it's business credit, and it's for your company. And it's just like us as individuals who have a social insecurity number, who have built personal credit. Your business also has a 9-digit number, and it wants its own credit. It's like, yo, I can buy a house too. I can buy a car too. Just build me up. Help me help you. And so when you control your business and you're able to get your own money,
then the possibilities are endless.
That beats out crowdfunding. That beats out begging your mama and your daddy and all of them folks. That beats all of that out. And those people are going to be very happy we created MUSICNOMICS.
Tell your family you're welcome. Not only does MUSICNOMICS offer all of that, but there is also a featured page for artists.
Yes.
You're being put out there in front of other artists with other artists. It's like a giant networking party.
So when investors log onto the app, they see the featured artist. And guess who's one of the first featured artists and brand ambassador of MUSICNOMICS? The first, the only, yours truly, Kelsey, a.k.a. K-Win. We win it.
K-Win stays winning. I'm so excited for you guys to find out all about my side as an artist and my journey with all of that, because all of the information that you guys are learning, I personally had no idea of before meeting him. So you guys are just so lucky right now. Definitely in for a treat. And, you know, honestly, that goes just to everything. Like, he is putting artists in front of investors, in front of other artists. And not only that, but once you start to build up all of your repertoire and your music videos are banging, you have quality supporters, then you can start promoting MUSICNOMICS and then get more people to help themselves help you.
Right.
That sounds like a great circle to me. And if that doesn't sum up Wealth Nation as a whole in general, I mean, I don't know what does, because he's also a CEO and a president of Wealth Nation. I mean, where did that even start? What was your journey like with creating Wealth Nation?
Well, you know, I was reading a book called The Wealth of Nations, and pretty powerful book, pretty dope book. And that was around the time where I was like, you know what? We need to launch some type of company that helps artists and artist development and brand management, because I saw where the industry was going and things were getting bad. It was going down because all of a sudden, all of these artists realized that the label's not going to do it anymore.
Right.
Not only major labels, but there are a lot of independent labels out there that are not doing artist development.
Right.
They don't want to do. They just want to sell records. They want to sell music. So I said, I was trying to come up with a name, and I couldn't think of anything that I really, really liked. And I was reading this book, Wealth of Nations, Wealth of Nations. When I realized that a nation is a large group of people that share a common purpose or culture, or take over a territory. I was at a seminar or workshop somewhere, and I saw the lady write on the board, wealth. She said, what is wealth? And the acronym that she used was something completely, totally different, but it made me think that we need to have an acronym for wealth, because we're not just about the money. And I didn't want the company to be looked at in that way. So we came up with wealth, WEALTH, stands for where every avenue leads to happiness. Because we feel if you're happy, you're truly wealthy.
Definitely.
And that wealth should not solely be defined by how many commas you have in your bank account, or what car you're driving, and where you live. You know, that doesn't necessarily make you wealthy. And from our viewpoint,
right.
Real true wealth is happiness. You got one life to live, you want to be happy. Fulfillment of purpose and destiny, happiness. So that's wealth. I came up with that one, and my partner, DJ Jamie O, shout out to Jamie O, he came up with where every avenue leads to health. So we both have two different acronyms for the company, but the nation, either way, the nation is us. We're a large body of people with a common purpose, common culture, and common territory in the space.
Working with Jamie O, where did that relationship start? So yeah, when did you guys just sit down and go, you know what, we could do this thing?
Well, I started the company a little bit before Jamie O came into play. Jamie O was a childhood friend of mine that I knew from New York. We were never like tight growing up, but we just knew each other from the hood. You know, we'd see each other, we'd play basketball together, stuff like that. I knew that he was in the music industry. I didn't know exactly what he was doing or what he was focused on. And just so happened that right after I formed Wealth Nation, I don't know, 2-3 months later, I ran into him. I ran into him like at a pizza shop in New York, and we were both getting a slice of pizza, $1 slice, $2 slice.
I wish.
And I started telling him, what'd you say?
I said, I wish they had dollar slice pizza here.
So, and I started telling him what I'm doing, and he was like, you know what? I'm doing marketing and promotions, and I was thinking the same thing, that somebody needs to start an artist development company. Let's team up, and why don't I come in and help you, and let's work together. And that was in like August of 2012, and we've been running since.
everything just kind of falls where it needs to.
Yep, he's a great guy. He's a great friend, first and foremost, a very loyal friend, but he has a great marketing business mind. He truly is the brand builder, and I'm glad that he's on board as, you know, one of my partners. And now I have other partners like MD, who is also super dope. Shout out to my partner Michelle Washington, who is the latest and the greatest addition to the team. She's a monster, though. She's a monster.
A lot of hats.
So when you look at our team now that we have now for Wealth Nation compared to even a year ago or 2-3 years ago, I mean, it's unbelievable what God has blessed us with and how he's blessed the vision of Wealth Nation and how many people lives that Wealth Nation has touched, and we're still just getting started. Hello.
Hey, how you doing? It's been seven years. 7 years. That's an incredible accomplishment. You just keep getting better and keep growing. I don't want to go too far into it, but you know, a lot of people, what they lack is the patience for their craft. And you built this up from rock bottom, and you had a 9-to-5. Yeah, I don't want you to have to get too far into it, but everybody else watching know that feeling that comes when you're just, you know that your time is coming, and it is imperative that you have to make that leap. You have to jump, as Steve Harvey said. So what was that leap like for you?
Scary.
Absolutely.
Very, very, very scary. I knew my time was up. I could not continue to try to build both things successfully. And I prayed about it and I meditated on it. You have to just completely, I mean, it's complete reliance on your higher power, the Most High God.
Sure.
And where it's just like, it's a walk with you and him. Like, other people around you may be saying, like, hey, I got your back, and we're going to support you, and don't worry about this, and blah, 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 blah. But no, don't rely on that. You can't count on that. You have to solely trust God. And you know what? I did, and I jumped, and I haven't looked back. And there's been moments where it's been scary. There's been moments where I've been, like, homeless. I've come off tour, and there's an eviction notice on my apartment door that I have to come up with an exorbitant amount of money in 72 hours or I'm getting kicked out. I've had cars repossessed. I've had bank accounts closed. I've seen it all. I mean, I've had it all happen post that, and I still didn't go back. I just kept going, and then eventually it popped. You know, I had a lady that's a judge wire me $80,000 in one wire transfer, and I saw then that was the largest amount in one transaction since I left, and I knew then that was my reward for my faith, and it's been no looking back, and I just keep going. Every day I literally rely and trust on God for his provision, and he keeps providing. So as long as he keeps providing, I'm going to keep going.
That's absolutely incredible. Persistence it should be people's drug of choice instead of quitting or giving up. But persistence, that is a beautiful trait to have. If you guys are wondering why he seems so comfortable in front of a camera, it's also because he is a radio host. Yes, you are a regular on Big Shot Radio. And if you want to, plug that, if you guys love this interview, which I know you will, then definitely make sure to check out some of his other work, other than his books, other than our website, oneworldnation.com. Plug, it'll be right here somewhere. But yes, so Big Shot Radio, what do you speak on there for all the listeners right now? What can they expect to pick up from, learn from, the fun stuff?
So first of all, I'll share on this show, a lot of people don't know, but I'm a motivational speaker.
No! What?
A lot of people don't. Listen, Kelsey,
I
I literally have spoken around the world. So, but what I decided to do is, we have this term in the industry we use called industry certified, which basically is a term that we created at Wealth Nation on our website and everything. Like, it's our slogan, it's our mantra, industry certified, which means that your platform and whatever you're doing has reached a certain level to where we can stamp it. It's certified. It's approved. So what I'm doing on the show, my show is called Industry Certified with Rob Terrell, Big Shot Radio, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., and then it comes on before Cheryl Underwood's show on Saturday night at the Big Shot Radio house party.
Eastern
I'm
Standard
dropping
Time.
jewels. I'm interviewing people like Kelsey, who's about to be on my show.
Sounds dope.
Next level, a.k.a. K-Win. We winning.
We stay winning.
But it's about dropping those jewels and that knowledge that you need to be successful in the music industry. Because the music industry has so many moving parts and pieces and components that if you don't know at least a little bit of all of these parts, then you're kind of like lost. And if you don't have a team that knows, that are actually experts in these different areas, then you're probably not going to be that successful in the music industry. One of the things that trips me out is that I always tell artists, success leaves clues. And when I ask artists, who's your favorite artist or who inspires you, they start pointing to all of these huge mega superstar people, right?
Yeah.
Right? And guess what? All of those people have the same pieces. Like, all of them without exception. They all have the same pieces to the blueprint to make it look like the picture on the box. Like when we were little kids trying to put the puzzle together. Yeah. If you know that and you aspire to be like them, then where's your team? You see, this is where I want to go, and this is what they have. At some point, light bulbs should go off and you say, I got to have that too. I got to have management. I got to have a publicist. I got to have these pieces because obviously they're needed. Duh, right? These people have them. But here's been the problem with some people. Some people actually know that, but because MUSICNOMICS wasn't here, they didn't have the money to pay for those pieces. So now, Wealth Nation has literally put the whole thing together. The team, the finances, the knowledge, everything is there. No excuses now. It really now is going to bottom out to talent. That's it. There's not going to be any more excuses because of what Wealth Nation has assembled and put together. We are the industry, Wealth Nation. Everything you need is here. We have it all. We have the producers, we have the engineers, we have management, we have artist development, and now we have the money. That's it. It's a very, very powerful thing to come into a structure like that because you literally don't have to go outside now of your structure and start dealing with people you don't know, you may not trust, you're not sure. Everything that you need is within your team structure. Yep.
I mean, it just climbs right where it needs to climb because we don't go anywhere but up. Before we close out, what advice, what one tip would you give any up-and-coming artists who have never been in the industry?
Who's never been in the industry? Educate yourself. Read as many books. I recommend this book by Donald Passman, All You Need to Know About the Music Business. I think that that's an amazing piece of work by a top entertainment attorney who's represented Michael Jackson, Prince, and a whole bunch of people. That book is amazing. I would say study your craft before you jump in and before you start spending a bunch of money on things that you think you need and with people you think you should be doing business with. Get the knowledge, educate yourself, then come to Wealth Nation. And we'll take it from there. What you see is a lot of the artists in their early on stages, they make a lot of mistakes because they don't have proper guidance. And they're so busy making music that they haven't even taken the time to study the industry. And that's a huge mistake. What artists at that stage early on don't realize is that it's 90% business, this industry, and only 10% music. While you're focused 100% on the 10%, the other 90% has nothing.
And bites you.
And it bites you.
You guys heard it. You need to educate yourself on your craft, whatever that may be. Don't go into anything blindsided. That is the most terrifying. I'm terrified for you if you're doing that. Educate yourself. That doesn't mean go out and get a grill and start talking like you don't have any sense just because you want to get some extra fans. Those fans don't like you, okay? They're entertained by you. You want to impact people because that's where the change is going to come in. And that, that comes from within. That universe that's just waiting to bud into ultimately was put inside of you for. Can't go. You're putting yourself into a bubble that's not really you. So make sure that you guys get out there and know absolutely everything you can.
I'm glad you said that. I just wanted to say one other thing to add to that, because you're so right, Kelsey. Stay true to yourself, to your higher self, which is your purpose. Don't let the industry, make you become something other than what you are, right, trying to fit in. Don't compromise that. If you don't know who you are, figure that out first. Once you do, be true to the higher self.
You can't go into anything without knowing who you are, because the first step to being successful is your mental health. And a lot of people, they push that to the side, and that's a very dangerous thing. And that's why we see a lot of, unfortunately, these really young kids who did make it and were in a position that a lot of people strive to be in, but they came up and they didn't fully love themselves, and they had to fight demons that they didn't have to keep with them. And so if you are somebody who is watching this and you have some places that you need to love about yourself a little bit more, find that first. That's okay. People are so worried about time. When it is your time to be successful in whatever you want to do, it will be your time. Don't care about where people think you should be, because at the end of the day, they're not going to feed you if you starve. So bring to your own table first. I'm so happy that you guys got to see firsthand somebody who has dug, clawed, built their way into an incredible position and is giving that knowledge back to people who absolutely need it. I personally wouldn't even be here with this show to bring you guys without this awesome, incredible man right here, Mr. Robert Terrell. I'm over here like clapping. I'm probably going to insert some other clapping so it doesn't sound singular. But thank you so much. Like I said, a consultation itself costs somewhere between $1,000 and $10,000. So y'all are welcome.
And that's before MUSICNOMICS launches.
Exactly. Right. His PayPal and mine will be linked below.
Right.
But
right.
Thank you
Kelsey,
so much.
I just want to congratulate you on your success thus far and your platform. This platform, The Next Level, is an amazing platform for artists to build their brand, gain valuable insight and knowledge, and you're just doing an amazing job. And so we're very proud of you on behalf of Wealth Nation, speaking on behalf of the whole entire staff. We are extremely proud of you, and you are living on purpose with a passion, and the universe will continue to conspire for you and make it happen. So keep doing what you do, keep God first, and bless up to you.
Thank you so much, Rob. All the information you guys need to know will be linked in the description box below. Everything from being able to tune into Big Shot Radio Thursdays Eastern Time and to be able to download his books, check those out. As we said before, knowledge. Make sure that you put that step forward, love yourself, and have patience. I am just so thankful that I got to interview you. Thank you so much.
Terrell, official deal maker, signing off. Salute.
This has been Kelsey, The Next Level. I'm Kelsey, and thanks so much. Tune in next week.